Good blessed throwback Thursday, November the 17th, 2022. It's about 5 o'clock a.m. in the morning. I greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. Doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. Doesn't matter whether you the proclaim toughest to the proclaim weakest person on the face of this earth. Doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaim enemies. Doesn't matter whether you like me or anything that I say or do. That's your prerogative. You have a right. Today, what I want to talk about is God-fearing people versus people misrepresenting God's word. That's God-fearing people versus people misrepresenting God's word. First, I want to let y'all see to the left of me is my beautiful grandmother, my dad's mother, biological mother, Luther Skates Ivy. May she rest in peace. According to my dad's second youngest brother, my uncle Irvin Ivy, he said their mother was Irish and black. Their dad was black. Barry B. Ivy, born February the 18th, 1892, y'all. My beautiful grandmother, I think she died at 39 or 40. So she was born maybe in 1900. Because according to my dad, I think he was about 14 years old. He said he remembered at the funeral, they said 1940, 40 years old. My Uncle Irvin says 1939 she died. We know it was in that particular area because my dad's youngest brother, my Uncle Percy, he was born in 1939, and he was just a little infant when their mother died. May she rest in peace. Isn't she beautiful, y'all? Family that don't know what she looked like, that's our biological grandmother. To the right, up and down, that's me. Marion Queen Ramona Nicole Ivy and Bertie Mae Ivy, the second's mother, Marisol. The reason why I'm showing you this here because it's going to be part of my topic. My grandfather was black and my biological grandmother was Irish and black. I'm black, and Queen Ramona's and Bertie Mae Ivy II's mother happened to be Dominican and Puerto Rican. And what I want to speak about is a few things. I'm not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. I want to speak about this country. It's supposed to have been founded on, which we have on our United States currency, in God we trust. But in what God do we trust, or when did we start, because apparently we had to end in God we trust if we go back to when the atheist female, which you have a right to be whatever you want to be, filed a lawsuit saying that to stop the prayer in school, which she was successful. And we've seen what's been happening in the school lately. Shootings all over, black and white. Just had one, I think, in Virginia, where a black man killed 3 football players. Some people say he was being bullied. I don't know what the cause of it was. But apparently, if we allow this lawsuit to go through in a country that we said in God we trust, we can't trust in God. not a universal God. Then it's a lot of other things, but I was wondering with the 435 state representatives here in this country and the 100 senators in this country in the White House, what God do they really trust in when it seemed like they are fighting worse than game bangers out on the street? It seemed like, to me, it's all about power. Just this recent election in November the 8th, 2022, I think the Senate, the Democrats regained the Senate, which they have 100 senators, I believe, 2 representing each state. We have 50 states, so you divide that. Then we have in the lower house, the House of Representatives, 435 state representatives, and the Republicans has taken over, I think, with 218, maybe going to get a couple of more, but 218 seats. Now, it seemed like it's more about power than anything. The Democrats want to investigate Donald Trump, and if the Republicans take over again, they want to investigate Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. Now we got 9 Supreme Court justices that serves their entire life in there until they retire or die. Now, if it's a United States Constitution, most of them are lawyers. Some of them one of them I know been a judge. Then why can't they come to the conclusion of what the Constitution is? But let's go even farther, y'all. When I first was talking about the biracial thing here with me marrying somebody that's not black, my grandfather marrying someone that was of biracial nationality. They just the Senate just voted on a same-sex marriage. A same-sex marriage. In one of the senators from the state of Wisconsin by the name of Tammy Baldwin, that's Baldwin. Let me tell you something she said on this here when they got the vote so far on that. She said this legislation, now listen to this real close, this legislation unites Americans. Ain't that something? She said it unites Americans on the same-sex marriage. This senator identified herself as a lesbian, which she has a right. She went on to say, with the Respect for Marriage Act, listen to it closely, we can ease the fear for millions, not hundreds, but millions of same-sex and interracial couples have, that their freedoms and their rights could be scripted away. Now she says she's speaking up for millions of same-sex and interracial. She's not speaking up for me, because I didn't fear nothing, or I wouldn't even marry my wife then. May she rest in peace. I'm sure my granddad, if he feared back then, it was even worse on the racial side. He wouldn't have married my grandmother. If we go back to the 1900s with one of the most famous boxers, Jack Johnson, that's all he dated was white women. If he feared that, then he wouldn't have got involved. But let me say this here. Now, if we trust in God we trust. Now, if we go back to Genesis, or just about any religious book, whether it's the Torah that the Jews have, the Quran that the Muslim have. Now, to the best of my recollection, I could be wrong because I'm human. The Bible said God created man in his image. At some point, God seen man, Adam, was lonely and put him to sleep, according to the Bible. And out of Adam's rib, he made woman. He gave them instructions to be fruitful and multiply. Now, God didn't pull out of Adam's rib when he put him to sleep. He didn't pull out Steve. It wasn't Adam and Steve. It was Adam and Eve. Don't get me wrong, to each his own. But how could we say in God we trust? Even with the United States flag, it can't represent all of us because in some areas, blacks is still not allowed to live. It can't represent all of us because some of us can't even get 3 black jurors, let alone any black jurors, when we go to trial. In this country, it seemed like it's always 90% or more whites that's controlling just about everything. And that's nothing against anybody that's white. But tell me, how can this country, or tell me what God would sanction a same-sex marriage? How can a woman in a woman or a man in a man be fruitful and multiply? If anybody can show me that or tell me that, get in contact with me and let me know. And I'm not knocking people that want to get married, but if we in a country where we say God and God we trust, that's something that we don't even consider. You see what I'm saying? That's something that we don't even consider. You know, considering that if everybody wished to become man and woman, the population of this United States would die down. Because we know man can't produce man with 2 men together. We know 2 women can't produce 2 women together. But let me just go farther on, y'all. Now, during the elections, the Democrats go and try to get people to vote. The Republicans go try to get people to vote. But after the voting is over with, it's no more concern about the people like myself that's fighting for justice for my son who was black and homeless, was found hung, lynched about 607 days ago on March 19, 2021 in Carbondale, Illinois. And not one time it had been in the newspaper. It wasn't even in the newspaper obituaries. It's never been public no more than my YouTube channel. But yet they said it was a death investigation. If they doing my son like that, how many other people are they doing like that? When I say they, I'm talking about these wicked people that said in God they trust. You see what I'm saying? If we trust in God in this country, why is it that Brittany Griner in the Ukraine war is getting more attention and more money and more support than the homeless people in the United States? Than the black people that's fearing to go out of their houses because some other black finna try to kill them. Blacks are scared to drive in their cars sometime and get stopped by law enforcement officials because they don't know if they're going to get shot and killed just for showing their license, as they was ordered to do. I can go on and on, but Brittany Griner, with all due respect, committed a crime in Russia. But yet, the United States president and other authorities, other civil rights leaders, the United States president in the White House is considering on the table to exchange a Russian prisoner who's titled the Death Merchant, a Russian who was selling arms, a Russian who was attempting to kill Americans. They willing to give up him back to Russia where he can regroup to sell arms, a millionaire as he is. He's in Marion prison for Brittany Griner, who committed a crime. But that's how the United States work. Now, they don't have time to look at people like my son who was found hung in a corrupted investigation. They don't have time. One thing some of them will do now on during Thanksgiving this week and next week, or probably this week, the Democrats or whoever else, they gonna start passing out turkeys to y'all, like they did us in the 60s in Cabrini Green, give us blocks of cheese. That's all well. But imagine you giving somebody a big frozen turkey who can't even get their lights on, who don't have no electricity or gas, or those that's homeless. But the Ukrainians, with all due respect, I don't condone no violence, but they can come over in this country and they would build some of the largest shelters for them, but you still got homeless people. Y'all think about what I'm saying. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. This country is not standing on "In God We Trust," or we'll still be able to pray in the schools. This country is not standing on "God We Trust" because we wouldn't even be considering any type of legislation of man marrying man. If man want to marry man, let him go ahead. If woman want to marry woman, let him go ahead. But if my 2 young daughters come home with a woman, they can't come in my house. That's their prerogative, but they can't. In my house, we serve the Lord. You see what I'm saying? In my house. You see, because Tammy Baldwin is a lesbian, she wants the legislation for the lesbian. Where is you black folks that's legislators? When are you going to have time to try to get some of these blacks off the streets that's killing blacks, get some of these law enforcement officials that's out here killing blacks, get some of these Ku Klux Klans out here that's hanging blacks? When are y'all going to come together? You see, the Ukrainians in the United States, they coming together about that war over there. Blacks won't even come together here. Most of you black politicians, I'm seeing some of y'all from Cabrini Green about to get indicted because you stealing money. Greed, that's all y'all about. It's money and power. What about some of us out here that's struggling, fighting against injustice? It ain't that millions of people fearing in their life in the United States to be interracial marriage. You got it everywhere. Look at Clarence Thomas. Ask him, do he fear? It's another one that's on the Supreme Court. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Her husband is not black. She don't fear. If she feared, she wouldn't be sitting where she's sitting now. But I'm going to leave as I came, with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God. Wake up, y'all. It's time to create another generation of politicians that's free from the Democratic Party, that's free from the Republican Party, that's free from the Tea Party, and free from non-fearing God parties. These people don't fear God. Obama is squishing around and doing his race. Anything to get voted in. Now, one thing about abortion, I believe a woman should have a right. You see what I'm saying? I don't think a woman that's been raped or molested or their life is in danger, I don't think that they should be not being able to have an abortion. They should have that choice. That's their body. But I believe that a woman that continuously get pregnant and ain't using protection and study wants to have abortion, I think that either the two, I'm gonna take that back. I'm not gonna even, I take that back as far as whatever woman have to do. That's between her and God. But I'm gonna leave you with this here. If the Democrats and the Republicans actually feared God, all of them, maybe some of them do, then we wouldn't have what we have in there now. They're worse than game bangers. NAACP, I got to say the same with y'all. You're no different than game bangers. If y'all can let the merchant of death come back or go back over to Russia, and he talking about killing Americans for a basketball star who committed a crime, then why did y'all laugh when Kanye West asked Donald Trump to free Larry Hoover? Peace be still.